Hey guys, it's your girl aka geekxxchic, and I'm back with another reaction to The Gifted. We are now on episode 13. Wow, we're here already. And this episode is called teMpted. So, last episode we had a couple big things go down in the sense of our plot. Namely, that the underground as we know it may be kind of out of commission. There was an attack on what was supposed to be a gathering of the leaders of the underground, and there were bodies being taken out of the building, but we did not actually see any of those bodies, so we don't know for certain that Evangeline was in that group. Right now, the underground is going to presume that they are gone. We saw a couple of relationships start to diverge a bit with Jon and Blink. They're taking a break. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to say broken up. They're taking a break at the moment. And then conversely, we see that the Strucker family is kind of starting to divide, at least the ones that are together. They are definitely starting to divide once again between Lauren kind of setting the ground rules with Andy, saying that, listen, you're not going to bully me anymore. I'm powering up. I'm ready to fight you if I have to of course, the parents having their differences over how Lauren's using her abilities and her connection to this music box. We also had Reid figuring out the fact that he indeed had been in contact with the box as a child, but that his father took it away from him because of the effect it was having on him. We ended the episode on Andy trying to get into his dream state so that he could contact Lauren, and we'll see what happens when the triplets show up, I suppose, if we get there with this episode. I'm really hoping that we kind of jump into that because I feel like like I said, we've been really building a lot of things up for this whole season. I really want to start to feel like we're getting to these final steps to a really good finale, because it just feels like we've had a lot of build up and not a lot of payoff so far. So without further ado, let's watch this episode and then we will chat about it later. Let's boot.
What took you so long?
Sentinel Services, they had a checkpoint set up on First. They were checking IDs, looking for fugitives.
I was supposed to be there for hours.
Is this the mole?
How'd you get through?
They were scanning for X genes. Saw I wasn't a mutant, let me through.
We got one of the others. Evangeline's
She's
already
the
on the way to
mole.
the border with the refugees.
Leo, no, it's too dangerous. Evangeline, she can handle things.
Not if
It's
she's
a mole.
walking into...
Once she gets to Flint, she'll know what to do.
We don't know if she...
How do you know she's going to Flint?
How did you know where she was crossing?
Yep. So this is why he's so salty.
I think you told me.
No.
Get out of my sight!
Oh, come on. Don't be angry because your little Leo betrayed you. It happens. And you let her go.
Plus, I can't let you have all the fun. Yeah, that's right.
Or maybe she just wanted me alone with creepy Erg who just keeps staring at her with his one eye.
My brother said that Rivas Page has infiltrated the government.
And Benedict Ryan is leading the purifiers in a nationwide crusade.
So what was that about, just charging in, Jon?
Why we have to fight the inner circle if we do not act on this now.
Jon is right.
How?
Lorna's risking her life to find out about this attack.
Oh my God, this
She
is
gets
so frustrating.
Anything. We need to be ready.
With what? Your resolve?
Gotta rub things the right way.
Ew.
Maybe I could show you sometime.
The nurture.
Why doesn't Clapback have any lines? That's rude. Oh no, why are you being so careless, girl? Oh my God. Everybody in the underground is annoying me right now. Everyone. Careless, careless, careless. I'm not saying, I mean, it's great they're not fighting, but you can't be kissing and stuff, especially when you got people. They might have another invisible mutant for all you know.
We have to get out of here.
You guys, get down, let go.
Thankfully, you have a girl who can portal. Thank you. Jesus, I swear to God, if she didn't use it this time, I would have been ticked. Let's go. Motor, 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 motor. Let's go. Oh no, she's bleeding like. Keep bleeding, keep bleeding like. That's like Marcos. She literally is like a female version of Marcos.
Erk, she is not going to betray you.
Not intentionally, no, but Sentinel Services can be very convincing.
Yes,
So
because
then what do you
everybody's your
suggest we do?
ex-boo. Stop. But Erg's all about the cause and protecting mutants.
Come on, guys. No,
Unless, of
relax.
course, they're
None of-
expendable.
Because we thought you had a plan to beat the inner circle.
Exactly.
Have you seen the mutant uprising
Thank
rallies
you.
in the streets? We're outnumbered, outpowered.
Nobody said that this would be easy.
The X-Men trusted
No, this
us
isn't
with this.
easy. This is impossible.
I'm sorry, guys, but if all you've got for us is speeches,
Right?
then they've already won.
Sorry. That's right, my sister. Listen. 400 years of oppression taught us a few things, alright? You can go on your little cause, but without a plan, let me go back home and eat my Cheetos. Okay, no, there's no back and forthy.
Sorry to just come in.
You know, Lauren, you should just, just take some, like, speed or something, some meth. That'll keep you up for days. I'll also make you crazy, but what? Evs.
Feels like I can make everything wrong with the world right again.
Potentially, maybe their power could be used for positive things. They just haven't done that, because Andy's crazy.
Really think...
Oh, so they're gonna infuse her with Marcos's blood.
That's gotta come from
That's not weird.
Please.
Doesn't this look like a happy place? It's like Disneyland for sewers.
We cannot have a human down here.
Well, you're gonna have one less mutant if I don't stop the bleeding.
There's really no argument where you don't look like a dick here, Erg, so just... Girl, unfortunately... But what they should be trying to do is give her, like, if they give her a drug to help her go into, like, a deep, deep sleep, she can't dream.
Just you and me.
Does she not know her brother well enough to know these aren't his words?
We're the only ones who really understand each other.
He's never been this articulate in his entire life, Lauren. You know this. Meanwhile, Lauren kills everybody in her building.
Andy, I can't.
Lauren!
Wait!
Lauren!
Wait!
Wait!
That's so creepy. The creepy mood was achieved. Objective done. Ooh, she look high. You gave us some good stuff. I knew it. Didn't I call the infusion?
Make sure we're clear.
How do you know that your equipment's even still here and functioning and sanitary?
Humans that were willing to risk prison to help people. All people.
You need to get over it, man. Go punch X-Boo in the face and let it go.
Run into centrifuges.
Let it go.
If they don't act like citizens,
Woo, girl, you look like a junkie. And your dad's been the one shooting up. You sure?
For the bags. You have no right to do this.
Lauren, no. Lauren, no. Lauren, no. Please, no, Lauren. You're gonna get them in trouble. They think it's them.
you can't disarm a living, breathing weapon, which is exactly what mutants are.
That was not smart, Lauren. God, you're so tired. I was like, Marcos needs his blood, though. Can we, like, yeah, I think it's time.
I thought I should top you off. How are you feeling?
We're talking about the transfusion, right?
You're supposed to keep me awake, so you have to answer.
Yes. Tell me all the drama, girl, so I can stay awake.
I don't think he has anything solid yet.
Okay, look, you have to run.
Why is she making these
No,
calls
he told
inside of the compound?
We don't fight.
What you get, Gramps? Erg. Woo, that thing split? Okay, Erg. Just got real.
After the Sentinel Services car, then she took off. Why would she be this reckless?
Cause she's tired.
I don't think she can help herself.
Hopped up on Monster.
Little.
Oh my God. So many people acting stupid right now. It's really doing my head in.
Kilroy's liquor.
Carries liquor like that. Don't mind me as I walk with my bottle facing towards the camera.
Lauren, I'm not going anywhere until you talk to me.
Don't make me say your full name, girl. That's white people angry.
But you're not alone. And I think I can help you.
Give you some of the serum. Whoa, jeez. Okay.
I think you're forgetting who you're talking to.
My dad's Omega level.
My father was part of the inner circle before he even was the inner circle. Around here, that makes me royalty. So if you're gonna run your mouth, try to get some rest out of things.
And maybe a shower. Your hair looks awful.
Saved my life. Thank you.
Now you owe me.
Because she'll always have your heart.
Girl, you are too good to be second fiddle. Seriously. Well, I mean, also, you probably haven't showered in days, and that's not really upping your appeal. Wait, where's that? No, it was on the ground. No. You could have just done it symbolically, yo. Thanks for the bacterial infection. Oh, John's literally in the doghouse. Sleeping in the dog bed. It's okay, baby. I think this is for the best right now, so at least the girl can sleep.
I can't feel her anymore.
So, problem solved. Somebody's waiting for you in your car. Burn his face off.
Just gonna
put my seatbelt on.
Slowly.
You think this idiot cares about safety, Marcos? Marcos just killed this mofo! Okay, so now we need to go back into the sewer to get Marcos some blood, or... Marcos, you should have known better than this. You were literally in a gang. Like, what? Rule number 1. No, you think a guy who just got out of prison and who's going to drink right about his... Okay, I'm gonna... Let me reel it in. Okay, guys. That was the latest episode of The Gifted called teMpted. And yes, we got to walk all the way through Lauren's temptation in this episode, as well as finally delve into Reid's. And I think that was definitely overdue. It was an okay episode. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the parts that were actually moving us forward were quite small in this episode. I really personally don't think we need to spend quite as much time on all the stuff in the Morlock sewer underground, but let's just get into some of the highlights, I suppose. I don't think I'm gonna have much to say on this one because honestly, there wasn't a lot that happened. Let's just talk about the underground. Since I just talked about the Morlocks and what went on there, it's interesting that we're seeing Clarice potentially have a little bit of buyer's remorse. She might be having a little bit of time now that she's cooling down, now that she is recognizing, not recognizing, now that she's had time to kind of get over her initial emotion of fear over seeing Jon getting hurt. And again, legitimate. I said this before, I think Lorna is 1,000% legitimate in her desire to not see Jon continuously run into situations recklessly. But to completely go to the extreme of running underground and separating herself from him entirely, I think she didn't really think about how much that was going to affect her and how maybe it was a little too extreme of a solution, so to speak. In the last episode's the review, I did go in depth about how I thought, like, I see both sides of this breakup. I understand why Jon feels like he can't stop doing what he's doing, but I also understand Clarice not agreeing with that and not wanting to continuously quite literally put them back together. But I think that, as I said before, the big problem with them is that they just, neither of them are compromising. That's really the key to all of what they're going through right now. Clarice could compromise in the sense of understanding that Jon is someone who is mission oriented. He's someone who, he's the call to action guy, right? He's never going to be the guy that if he sees something bad going on, he's going to turn the other way and walk away. That's not in his nature. However, as I brought out repeatedly since the beginning of this season, Jon has not been going about things in a calculated or planned way. And I'm glad that that girl from one of the Mutant Underground groups just spelled it out. My sister girl was like, y'all just coming to me with dreams and speeches and you want me to go risk my life? Not today. So like, just the fact that Jon keeps doing this is what has been bothering Clarice from the get-go. This is what's been wrong with everything the Underground's been doing thus far. So there's been no planning, there's been no proper assessment of the threat and what they're dealing with. And I feel like Riva knew that the Underground was like this, and this is why she can do what she's doing. Well, not just her, but the inner circle in general. Right off the bat, as soon as they start to figure out that the inner circle has been around for longer than most of the Underground's been alive, that it was started by people like Magneto, like that should have been the first indicator for Jon that we can't go headlong into this. This isn't just a handful of mutants who call themselves, this isn't just like a little side group like the Fantastic Four or something, right? This is a whole huge network of people who've been planning things since before you were born. The same way as a soldier, you wouldn't just run into an enemy compound without doing some kind of recon first. I mean, maybe you could, but chances are you're not gonna survive it. Okay, we're not all the Punisher. We can't just run in and just somehow be able to murder everybody when we've got literally all the odds against us. Even Jon has its limits, and he's been shown those limits over and over again this season. But it's just one of those things where that's the frustrating part about what he's doing. I have no issue with his desire to help people, his desire to fulfill a mission, his desire to right what's wrong. But in this particular case, he's not assessing his enemy properly. And going into a battle that you're not prepared for is just as bad as not doing anything, in my opinion, because you're just going to sacrifice another good life that could be used for the cause to what? Say you died a hero? Do you know what I mean? Like, heroes are great, but when they're dead, they're not very helpful to the living, right? Anyway, Jon, his compromise needs to be actually just taking a step back and realizing that by just slowing down and getting a plan in place and understanding what his enemy fully and actually coming up with a real, well thought out, well assessed direction to go in is not giving up, and it's not walking away. And I understand that in the case of this whole thing, I think Jon is feeling the pressure because they know that a big thing is coming. They know that there is a timer on all of this, but even with all of that, if way back in the beginning of the season, these guys had just sat down for 5 minutes and just really started to think about, okay, let's figure out how much recon we can find out. Let's figure out what we can learn about this. Let's figure out the best plan of action instead of just running over and over again into danger. We'd just be in a completely different place. And on Clarice's side, instead of just walking away from the entire Mutant Underground cause, which I don't think is what she wanted to do, she could have just been like, you know, she can be a little bit more empathetic of where Jon is coming from. Like, every time she proposed something to Jon, it was never like, you know, listen, I know you want to do something and I want to do something too, but I want to do it in a way that's going to be the most beneficial and give us the best result, not just, you know, go in such a way that's probably going to result in us getting hurt. I'm not saying let's not do it. I'm just saying let's not do it this way. Let's find a better way, and I will support you 100%. That's not really what Clarice would come across saying. She was typically at the end of her rope and very emotional when she'd be dealing with Jon, and it usually came across as, you're trying to kill yourself, why are you doing this is never gonna work. And that's, you know, no one likes to hear they don't like to hear their ideas being shut down like that. Like, as soon as you say things like that to people, the typical response is to shut down and become defensive, and that's what we saw Jon do time and again. So they both could use a little meeting in the middle, and I think if they could do that, they can find their way back on the track, because as I said, I don't think Clarice is okay with Erg's extreme belief systems, although this whole thing with Caitlyn was clearly to help him just dial back that anger and that hate that is not even about Caitlyn or humans in general. Homie is ticked at humans because his ex, okay? His ex thing is the one who did all this. Like, girl, just go to her house, knock on the door, and when she opens it, just punch her dead in the face and be done with it. Like, that's all he wants to do. And maybe not punch her, I mean, use your little eye thing and like shoot something at her or something like that. It would make him feel so much better, because clearly all of this is him having some unresolved anger issues towards his ex who betrayed him. He's mad at himself as well because he trusted her and he thinks he should have known better. But the reality is, when you love someone, you trust them, and what they do with that trust is not on you. But that's a whole other discussion. The point is, Erg needs to just recognize his ex-girlfriend is one person and she cannot represent the entirety of a whole group of people. So hopefully his exposure to Killer Caitlyn, I guess we can call her that now, she helped, and she of course talked about the mutant clinic and was like, see, not all humans are evil. So hopefully that whole thing was to help Erg recognize that he needs to be a little bit less black or white about the whole human versus mutant thing, because he, like I said, he's really no better than the Purifiers or any of the other hate groups with the kind of attitude he was carrying before, that all humans must be trash and all humans can't possibly be friends or helpful to mutants. Because let's be real, most of those people wouldn't be alive today if it hadn't been some kind of human interaction in their life, including Erg. So that was pretty much the whole thing with that storyline. We also had the whole thing between Marcos and Glow, I guess the name she's going with. I don't know why the show's dragging this out more. The only thing I can think of is if they plan to possibly move it into something in season 3. But they really keep bringing, like, the first time they brought her in, I thought, okay, maybe this was going to be an option for Marcos because him and her Lorna was still at odds. But then they brought her back twice now. So I'm just like, why do they keep bringing this girl up? And why did we have her him save her life? Now, I mean, we've established this link, so now that we see that poor Marcos is hurt, we know there's one other person with the blood type that could help him, but girl, she's gonna need at least, what, 2-3 days to replenish? I mean, your platelets work hard, but they say, like, when you donate blood, it takes like a solid 48 hours for your body to replenish all the stuff you put back. So, and she's still healing. So I really don't think it's a good idea for her to be like giving that blood. It's like Marcos is gonna be like, so that blood I lent you, I'm gonna need that back. I know it seems petty, but I'm gonna need them pints back, girl. A little something went down, I'm gonna need those pints back. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know why they keep bringing her back. I don't know where they're trying to take that. I don't even know this girl, but I know she deserves better than playing second fiddle to this drama that's still going on with him and Polaris. It's not over. It's nowhere near over. Marco's heart is 1000% still with her. So I just think my homegirl just needs to move on And I don't know why. Like I said, I'm just trying to figure out why the writers keep throwing her at us. There has to be a reasoning, because 3 appearances now and then a whole half storyline dedicated to her, sort of. It's got to be going somewhere. Maybe there's something that her and Marcos can do. Like, you know how when Polaris and Marcos touch, they can sometimes create that Aurora Borealis. Maybe him with someone who has a similar power can do something. Maybe they're going to create some kind of cool... Because that's one thing, actually, now that I've talked about this, it kind of makes me think back. I'm really sad they haven't brought back the power combination stuff we saw in season 1. Do you remember in the Hound Program, the crazy doctor was creating those cuff thingies that the mutants would wear that would combine certain types of powers that were conducive to being combined? Why did we get rid of that? That was sweet. That makes a lot of sense. And even though he was using a contraption, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of mutants could probably just do it themselves. Like, why are Andy and Lauren the only ones who can combine a power by touching? I'm sure others could do the same. And like I said, the Aurora Borealis, I think, is an already indicator that just skin-to-skin contact is enough to do something. So maybe there's going to be something that Glow and Marcos could do that will be helpful in whatever the heck the Underground is planning on doing. I don't know, but if you guys have any ideas as to why this girl keeps coming up or why you think they keep bringing her up, please leave those comments below. All right, moving on to the other thing that was kind of short, and I guess we can talk about it pretty quickly, is just the whole Lorna trying to investigate what's happening thing and report back to Marcos. It's just frustrating to me, guys. I'm sorry. Like, I've mentioned this in the last reaction, but I just think Lorna is being entirely too careless. Like, this to me is so sloppy. So sloppy. Besides the fact that you've got, as I mentioned before, 3 telepaths in the house, you also have a bunch of criminals who, as we saw with what's-his-face there, are extra sensitive and extra suspicious of everybody. Like, it's just phone calls in the house, breaking into rooms. I can't think that this place has no cameras. We saw that there was a camera near the elevator, so wouldn't it not stand to reason that there are other cameras potentially all over the place? Like, I don't know. Like, I know that a show has got to let a few things go for the sake of plot, but I feel like this is pushing it like a lot where Lorna's concerned. Like, come on. Like, there's just so many sloppy moves being made by her lately. And I somewhat get it because she is desperate to try to stop this. She knows it's big. She knows it's bad, but doesn't excuse being careless, especially around a mutant who has the ability to completely render her powers useless. And then now she's got 3 murderers in the house ready to take her out in a minute. Like, I mean, that whole speech she gave him about how she's royalty because of Magneto was kind of funny, but the reality is, Riva was willing, we've seen it, she was willing to kill Andy if she thought she couldn't keep him under control. So, of course she would kill Lorna if she thinks Lorna's going to be a potential problem. I have no doubt that Riva's got a backup plan for Lorna if that doesn't work out. And we already heard, I think it was Esme, saying to Sage that there's the side project with Lorna and that she's working on it. So, I'm wondering if that is the fact that Riva does know that Lorna is defecting and she's trying to see if she can get Lorna to come back around on her own if that doesn't happen. Or what would be a much more Riva-esque thing for me to believe is that Riva kind of accounted for the fact that this might happen and that there's maybe a B-plot plan that she had going on that just in case she does decide to catch feelings for her old group, let's see what we can do to make sure she gets fed information. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Riva had it planned that Lorna would see all those plans and get her eye on all that stuff and feed that information to the Underground, and for it to somehow turn around to just be all part of her big plan. Maybe having them show up and take the rap. Maybe, what if she's planning to set the Underground up? Think about it. She killed all their leaders. They'd be ripe for revenge. A bunch of them show up at the site where they decide to doing whatever it is, whatever they decide to blow up. And then you've got the Underground standing there holding the bag. That would be brilliant. Yes, I could see this. I could see this. Anyway, that's a theory out there. What do you guys think? So yeah, that's basically the whole thing with Lorna. Honestly, there's not much else to say. She, like I said, she was sloppy this episode. I did enjoy her getting a little bit gangsta at the end with this dude, but we already know that he's on, well, it doesn't matter. He's dead. I was gonna say he's onto her, but he's dead. It looks like Marcos killed him, and I think that was the only option he had. But it's going to be real messy to explain, especially because Marcos has got some pretty unique blood. It's going to be kind of hard to explain to Riva how this man ended up dead, just like that, and how the Underground found out about him. Yeah, this is going to get messy. It's going to get real messy. I'm interested. We haven't seen Riva in a couple episodes, so I'm going to be really interested to see what she has to say when she finds out that her part of her plan is lit up, quite literally. I guess finally that leaves the whole storyline with our girl Lauren and the music box and Andy and the triplets trying to lure Lauren to the dark side. Come to the dark side. We have cookies. Poor Miss Lauren, I felt bad for her this episode, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. It was rough seeing that poor girl going on probably at least 3-4 days without sleep. And she's a teenager, you know. Those kids need sleep. Everyone needs sleep, but teenagers, man, with them growth spurts and stuff, they need rest. And for her to be living off of coffee and Monster, you know what I'm saying? I felt bad for my girl. She looked genuinely like a strung out addict by the end of this episode. The poor thing. And all of this just because she's trying her best not to give in to this temptation that she knows could lead her astray. And I really applaud how the writers, I think, really accurately showed the inner struggle that Lauren is going through with this whole music box, Fenris, everything that's going on right now. Like, she's really in such a precarious place. And I think that one of the things that has gone really well this season is watching Lauren's journey as she's traversed a very interesting path as far as I mentioned before, her powers and with Fenris and with her relationship with Andy, the relationship with her family, her belief systems about how things should go between mutants and humans. Like, she's had a lot more on her plate, I think, than a lot of the other people have. Because even if you look at Andy kind of has already made up his mind at the moment. And I say made up his mind as in he's allowing certain influences to talk to him more than others. But with Andy, he's already kind of decided that, you know, screw humans, they can all die. I just want to run around and use my powers so I can hurt everybody like whenever I want to. But Lauren's not that person. She never has been. And as we learned in the last episode, the balance of the powers, you know, Lauren's the light part of the force, if you will. And so she doesn't have the same appetite for darkness that Andy does. But at the same time, Fenris is a part of her. And she needs balance from Andy and vice versa, and she craves it. But she knows in the moment that that craving could lead her down a path that's just not healthy. So that moment where they had that little moment together in the dream, even though it was kind of creepy that it was the triplets speaking through Andy, and once again, Andy not doing anything for himself. That boy really needs to use his brain for something other than mouthing off people who care about him. But I digress. I feel like Lauren should have been able to tell that Andy was never, like, I'm sorry. I'm not saying Andy's a dummy, but he's never been that articulate. Let's be real. In the 2 seasons, we have never seen Andy be able to put a sentence together that succinctly and tactfully and grammatically correct once. Okay? It's harsh, y'all, but it's the true tea. I feel like Lauren should have halfway been like, wait a minute. You ain't never talked like this, and I've known you since you was born, boy. But it was a very kind of bittersweet moment in that dream where we see her and she lets go for a minute, because I feel like Lauren is also wound up so tight because she is so afraid of what her powers can do and what she could do to people unintentionally with them, that she is holding back a lot. And to just see her in that moment just kind of let go and just let all of that anxiety go and that fear go for a minute, and also get that balance that she's been craving from Andy, you just saw her just like, it's like a sigh of, like just a breath of fresh air. And it was just refreshing to see her be able to have that moment. But then as you saw, like, then she was like, you know, I want this, I do want it, but I don't want what you, like, I don't want all that comes with it. It's just like, I just want the fries. I don't want the whole Happy Meal, but you tell me I gotta have the whole Happy Meal. I'm glad that they kind of just showed that whole moment. I think it really brilliantly showcased what Lauren is going through, the inner turmoil she's really struggling with, and that unfortunately her mother doesn't want to hear about right now because she wants to get Andy back so bad, that Reid was being very dismissive of up until this episode. So really well done. I really like the way that was done. I also really enjoyed that at the end, Reid finally, like, I don't know why Reid would not think of confiding in her about the fact that the music box affects him too. I mean, obviously Reid doesn't have Fenris, but this is, I said it in the last review, I do believe that the Von Strucker line in general is going to be affected by this because it's still the same genetics. He may not have the power of Fenris, but who knows, maybe he does. Maybe it doesn't manifest itself as Fenris, but we've already seen Reid's power is crazy. And that's just a sample of it. We haven't even seen it in its full potential. Imagine if Reid had actually been able to use those powers since they manifested. We've seen with all the mutants, with the exceptions of some of the ones that were OG, like the underground and stuff, their powers have grown, enhanced, changed, developed, gotten bigger, better. We saw that, remember, Reid's dad, who had said he hadn't used his powers in over like 30 years, or more, he developed a small nuclear explosion in his shop. And that was with 5 or 6 bullets in his chest. Imagine what Reid could do. I feel like Reid actually has the power of Fenris, but it's in a single body. And maybe if Reid had had a sibling, they would have had a similar type of connection. But Reid's power is crazy, and it's got the same crazy power of destruction. Like I said, if he'd had the time to manifest or work with it, he'd probably be able to shoot that stuff somewhere, or maybe he could take out entire areas. Who knows? My point is, I don't think it's just that these kids are the only ones having any type of super amazing power. It came through a channel, which was Reid. So I do believe that Reid has that ability. I think he does have that level of power, but because he's never learned to use it, it is like putting a gun in a child's hands, right? It's just not a safe thing to do. But I'm glad that he finally recognized that he should be letting this part of himself, these fears, all the things that he's gone through in the last few weeks in particular, with all the things he had to deal with his abilities, communicating that with Lauren and saying, listen, it's okay for you to be scared. I understand this lure that you have. I understand this unnatural draw that you have that no one else gets. Like, I do get it. I'm not just coming from a place of judging you and coming from a place of understanding. As human beings, we respond to mutual experience a lot better than we respond to someone telling us or feeling like they're talking down to us. And that's something that Reid was doing. And he has a bad tendency of doing that a lot with his kids. And I'm hoping that maybe this is a step towards him stopping that. But I really like that they got to bond over that. And for Reid to just be like, you know what? Yeah, I do know what you're going through. I fight it myself. I know what part of you it's calling to, and I know what it feels like. And that's why I'm telling you that you have to work harder to resist it. And of course, it's a little different with her because with Reid, he didn't have anybody else kind of drawing him outside of the music box. But in the case of Lauren, as we saw, she's got her brother, and he's reveling in it. So that combined with the draw of Fenris is a lot for her to take. And I think she made the right decision in the end of taking the inhibitor, at least for now, just to break that hold, since like girl could not even sleep. Like Andy was not gonna let her sleep. The triplets were not gonna let her sleep. So it also protects her. Like I'm hoping now that like if Andy says after a couple of days, like look, like my connection with her is gone, like I've got nothing, literally it's over. Hopefully they'll have no reason to come after Lauren again. I don't know that they will though, because they know that it's possible for that connection to be there, but it does kind of take some of the heat off, and I think that's a good idea because plot-wise with this show right now, a lot is going on, and I don't think we need to add in another layer of Lauren having to constantly try to stay awake, or as I said in the episode, I don't know why they didn't just think of also her mom's a nurse. Like you could give her a heavy sedative because if you go into deep REM sleep, you don't dream. Either way, Lauren at least can get a full night's rest, and I think this is good for her because I think without having the draw of the music box being as strong as it is, and having those emotions kind of blocked for a moment, it'll give Lauren some time to truthfully, honestly think about what she wants and how she feels. And if in the end, she really does want to pursue this with Fenris or whatever she wants to do, then she'll know she's doing it because it's something she truly wants. And it's not gonna be Andy's feelings or the draw of Fenris influencing that decision, if that makes any sense. And I almost wish that Andy could get the same thing to see whether or not how much of that really, like, you know how hard I've been on Andy all season and last season, you know, he's still not my favorite character. However, seeing the way that since they've taken this season to really explain more of how Fenris works and how it affects and used Lauren as the conduit to do it, if we flip that over to Andy, maybe if he didn't have the draw of Fenris pulling on him as much, maybe he wouldn't be he wouldn't be the way he is now. Maybe he would be more opposed to what's going on in the inner circle. Maybe be more opposed to the violence and hurting people the way that he is. Some people say that they need to be together to balance it out, but I don't know that that's 100% the case, especially like I said, I think Fenris's power is the wild card here. It does seem to have a weird kind of polaric pull on their emotions and their thinking. So yeah, I don't know. If they ever get a chance to give that inhibitor to Andy, I would be really interested to see if he would maybe have a big old pang of remorse over some of his past actions. But yeah, that was pretty much the episode, to be honest. There really wasn't too much more that happened. We ended, as I mentioned, on Marcos getting shot, trying to stupidly shake down this criminal. And I just say stupidly in the sense of I know Marcos has the skill set, but he has been out of practice first and foremost for a long time. Because honestly, if he was closer to being in practice, there's no way he would have been like, yeah, put your seatbelt on. You don't need a seatbelt, fool. I got light, a burning laser near your head. That's far more of a danger than any oncoming traffic. How about that? I don't know. He was low on blood. I'm going to give Marcos a pass because the man had lost like 3 pints earlier that day. So I am worried about Marcos though because he's Like I said, low on blood and he's losing blood. So if they don't find him soon, are we gonna lose? Are we gonna lose a member of the underground again on our team? Is that gonna happen? Please don't let it happen. I really do like Marcos, but he really has been back-burnered this season, so it makes me wonder if maybe they had some plans in that direction. What do you think? And overall, what do you think of this episode? How do you think it went down? Do you think that we're gonna lose Marcos, or do you think it's just gonna be one of those close calls, but it's gonna somehow incite better action by the underground to actually go into this with a plan? And also, do you think that Riva's onto Lorna? And if so, what's she gonna do when she finds out she caused one of her key members to get killed? Please, leave your comments below. You know I love reading that and getting involved in the conversation with you. And if you like this video, guys, please click like. And if you see more of this geeky face, please click subscribe. Until next time,